Hey, what's going on, everybody? I am Adam, and this is Open Late on a day that I don't normally do open lates. And it's been a while since I've done one anyway, so I guess there's no day that I normally do these anymore. It is the 31st of May. It is sort of the end of the unofficial kind of Star Wars month. I haven't done anything related to that, and I had wanted to do this um all month. I had planned to do this, several times over the course of the month. Never got around to it. I thought about, recording the unboxing and then just putting that up during the month of May. Obviously, that didn't happen. So here we are, May 31st. I was thinking, I might open this on the Clubhouse over on Ozstradamus Toys channel, but no Clubhouse tonight either. So I just decided that now's the time. I may as well get this thing unboxed and get it over with. I'm starting to have a mountain of toys. Uh, having having kind of filmed a lot of my unboxings, not out of any sort of obligation or need to, because I'm opening stuff like this that nobody really cares about anymore, except for me, because I mean I bought it, I wanted it, I'm excited for these. But there's I now after like opening all my toys on video for I don't know, like the last 2 years almost now. I struggle to just sit down and open a toy. I always think to myself, oh, you know what? I should probably tape this, or I should, stream this live or whatever. And I just have too many toys, so I gotta just start opening some stuff. So I think because it is the countdown to Joe Fest for me. There's some stuff that I want to open. And it's Yojo June starts technically tomorrow. I mean, live stream on I think Wednesday, with a bunch of pre-orders and stuff like that going up. So there's sort of an abrupt end to sort of Star Wars month, if you want to call it that. But as I said, I'm really excited to open this. Depending on how this goes, how I feel after I've opened all three of these figures. I might also do a little bit of change of pace in some respects and go from the 6-inch scale to the 3 3/4 Star Wars scale and open the hallway as well, the 10-4 corridor. But we'll see. It's Saturday night. We can do what we want. Anyway, let me just quickly check in with the chat. Mr. Ryan Clark is here. Hello, good to have you. I still haven't shipped your figure. I'm planning to do that this weekend as well. Part of the reason that I'm able to do this tonight is because I'm kind of caught up on a whole lot of other things. And shipping that stuff out is next up. Hello there, Jeff Morris. John from the Collecting Brothers. It says just what my night needed, a little open Kate. Ooh, that sounds odd. But I get the point that I think you're trying to make. Ryan Clark's got it right before Yojo June starts. Yes, and I'm pretty excited about Yojo June. There's a couple figures that have been revealed that I'm excited for. There's a couple things that I am aware are coming. I believe in June that I'm pretty excited about. So yeah, pretty excited for. I'm excited. I like toys. I like cool stuff. So, and I like Joe's, so it kind of makes sense. May 31st and the last hour. Yes, on the East Coast, absolutely. Barely sort of snuck it in. I'm on the West Coast, so I do have a couple hours left, which means that I could still open the corridor and still sort of make it in for May 31st. Mr. Ryan Clark says, I got that way with toys to open for Instagram. I felt like I had to shoot it. I've been able to open and enjoy stuff lately. Yeah, and the thing is, like, I enjoy just opening stuff like casually. Like, oh, I got this thing I'm gonna open. I'm gonna open it and then opening it without having to set up lights and camera and a background, and I can listen to music or like watch, rewatch Rebel. I'm rewatching Star Wars Rebels. I can just rewatch Star Wars Rebels while I'm opening toys and not think about it. But yeah, it's all good. Says Ryan Clark. John says favorite part of Open Late are the bonus figures that could get opened. Well, let me tell you, I have got a stack that could be opened. Anyway, let's open the Force. So this is of course the Star Wars Return of the Jedi Force Spirits, Anakin Skywalker, Yoda, Obi-Wan Kenobi. So these are the Force Ghosts at the end of the re-release, remastered Return of the Jedi, of course, because we have the Hayden Christensen Anakin Skywalker, as opposed to the original. Now, well, we'll get there when I get them open, but I think they kind of like it's Hayden Christensen mixed with the original actor, in my opinion, and it looks good. But I just, I like translucent figures. I love Force Ghosts. I love Return of the Jedi. So this was a set that I had wanted since it got released. That being said, I did not buy it. Opening, when it went up for pre-order. I did not buy it when it went on sale at Hasbro Pulse. I did not buy it until I was on holidays in Hawaii and picked it up at Ross. And I can't fit it in the frame, but you can see it all the way back here. Picked it up at Ross on clearance for $9.99. So I got 3 Black Series figures for $10. $333 plus the Hawaiian taxes a piece. I thought was a pretty good value. Couldn't really say no, and managed to get it home in my luggage without it getting crushed. And now I kind of cheated. I opened up the box and packed this full of like socks and stuff like that, so that it had a little bit more support, because I was worried that this box would get crushed. It did get a little bit squished, but who cares? I'm opening them and I'm going to recycle this packaging anyway, so it doesn't matter. Let's get it opened. And I believe I already opened that side. Anyway, I could take a quick look at the packaging. There's the box. They're individually carded inside this box as well. You get that nice shot from Return of the Jedi with all 3 of them, standing in the Ewok village. Or are they standing? Do Force Ghosts stand? Or do they hover? Or they're not there at all, so do they just appear? I don't know. What is a ghost? How do you explain what they were doing at this moment? Standing, floating, hovering, haunting? I don't know. Anyway, that's the box. Who cares? They are, as I said, individually carded. So let's get all of these carded figures out. So that I can tear into them like I'm a little kid. I like when these figures are individually carded and they're unpunched as well. I do like, and I think this has got to be on purpose, I do like that these feel like the punch is scaled to the card as though these are 3 3/4 inch figures. Like this hole is really, really big. Much bigger than I feel like it needs to be. But maybe that's it. Am I crazy? Or is that on purpose, do you think? Anyway, who cares? So we got some cross sell on the back. The cross sell is for 3 of the figures that you get in this pack, strangely. And then a Stormtrooper, the Emperor, and Chewbacca. Ironically enough, it says, each sold separately. But that's not true because you just got 3 of them in this box. So, but yeah, you get the same cross sell on all 3. You do get the nice sort of portraits for the 3 characters there. But like I said, who cares? Let's get these out of the box. Should I just tear them or should I cut them open? I'll cut them open. And I'll try to do it quickly because this is the most boring part of these videos. games. For me as well as for you guys, I'm sure. I will start with my least favorite Force Ghost, Anakin Skywalker. As I said, you know, I think he kind of looks like Hayden Christensen, but he kind of looks like the original actor whose name I don't know. I you know, I'm not stalling to try to remember it. I genuinely don't think I know that actor's name, which is a disservice to him. However, I've said it before and I'll say it again. I'm a bad Star Wars fan, so I do not feel guilty. I'm gonna cut them all up the card, I think, and then take a look at them because I feel like it'll be quicker if I just chop them all up all at once. Now, I was thinking about it as, you know, when I bought this and as I've been looking at this box of this multi-pack, this 3-pack for months now, I think I would like to get a Force Ghost of the original actor. You know, I have this one now of the Hayden Christensen Force Ghost, but I think I'd like to have the other one as well to replace Hayden Christensen, or just an alternate head. Maybe would be fine. And it's you know what? I just realized. I think they did there's a Return of the Jedi Darth Vader that I think comes with a removable helmet. Is that right? Maybe somebody can. Maybe I'll have to track that down. Maybe I just need the head because the heads are painted, although they do look a little glowy. But okay, they're off the card. Will they stand up like this? I don't know. I'm gonna adjust my camera very quickly. Hopefully, I only have to do it once. Bear with me for a moment. Elevator music to go along with it. There we go. Now it's not as much in my face. Let's take a look here at the chat. John said Sebastian Shaw. Yes, that is correct. I always think that's wrong though, but because you guys said it, I always think of Sebastian Stan when I see Sebastian Shaw. And then I'm like, that can't be right. That's just people just want him to be Luke Skywalker. But it's just, I don't know. In my head, I don't know why it does that in my head. And Jeff says, did that show up at Ross? It did, I guess, at some point. I bought it in January at Ross in Hawaii. So I don't think they'll still be there if you go and look tomorrow. That's why I am the sort of least reliable person for people to get their sort of up-to-date action figure release news from. They need to make a Force Ghost Qui-Gon now. They have. It's out there. I am not a huge prequels fan. I don't dislike them. I don't have any hate for them. I don't think, you know, George Lucas did anybody wrong by them. They're not for me. They don't sort of tickle my Star Wars bone in the same way that the original trilogy and even the sequel trilogy do. So to that point, I don't really need a Qui-Gon. Hello, Allison Troy. I saw you sneak into the comments there a second ago. And Delta 17 says definitely bigger. Yeah, I thought so. Chuck Morris, I never found that Stormtrooper. The good news is you can just wait. There will always be another Stormtrooper. I think they've released like 2 more Stormtroopers since that one. if I'm not mistaken. At least one, if not two. Imperious Rex cosplay and toy photography skills. I love these Starfleet characters from Stargate. Good to have you, Kelly. All right, let's get these guys out of the packaging. And you don't, I mean, like, it's the figures. That's all you get. There's no accessories, there's no extra hands, there's no alternate heads, there's no weapons. Yoda comes with his cane, his R2 whacking stick, and his little necklace, and that's it. And that's all. And that's all I need. Because these guys Misa gonna put these on my translucent figure shelf, and not even my Star Wars shelf. So to that end, I don't really need or want a bunch of accessories that I'm gonna have to put in a bin while these guys just stand on a shelf, posed once, and then like never really played with again. I mean, they're great. I love these translucent figures, and the fact that they're Star Wars figures, and the fact that we get what I think is a pretty scale appropriate Yoda. I'll look at Yoda last because he's my favorite. I love Yoda. I'll look at Anakin first because Hayden Christensen. I've never been a huge Hayden Christensen fan. Remember when Life as a House came out and everybody was like gushing over Hayden Christensen's acting in that? I didn't get it. I didn't get it then. I don't get it now. I find him to be a very wooden actor. I find his I just find him lacking. I don't know. Okay, taking a look at the figure. Who cares? Hayden Christensen, he's a fine actor and he's been in Star Wars. He's very successful. Good for him. Moving on. You get a really, really cool effect here because the translucent isn't, full head to toe. So you get translucent feet. You get translucency through the plastic on the skirt here, so you can see my fingers through there. But then they paint it over top of that, so it creates this really cool effect that does give you sort of a Force ghost effect because you still get parts that are pretty solid. Now, out of curiosity, I'm only gonna do this once. Oh, okay. Well, I meant to just pop the head off, but this serves the same purpose. So I'm always curious about like what's painted and what's translucent and how that all works. So the head, the neck, the torso, all appear to be opaque plastic, and then it looks like the lower arms, and then everything below the waist, and then the skirting is printed in clear plastic and then painted over, and then all of these parts that are colored plastic and then painted over. They've done a really good job of kind of using enough paint that you don't have different colors, when it shifts from one to the other. There's also and I think it's picking it up, whether you kind of recognize that it's picking it up or not. That shine is actually kind of like a iridescent shimmer. There's a pearlescence to the sort of top coat of paint. Again, head to toe. So you get a really, really cool effect as though these are sort of shimmering, as though they have sort of a haze to them, a ghostliness to them. And then they add to that, a sheer, somewhat shiny coat, soft goods piece that works really, really well to add sort of one more layer to the effect. Now, it has a hood, which is kind of funny because it doesn't really fit, and it's kind of just bunched up and clumsy on the back there. But as I said, it looks really, really good. The effect of the translucent plastic, the effect of the soft goods, the effect of the pearlescent paint, just amounts to a really, really good representation, I think, of a Force ghost. and I think it's executed very, very well. Of course, with Obi-Wan, we get the same thing. There's, probably parts reuse here as well, which is fine because, as I said, these are just going to go on display. But there does seem to be like a decent amount. Like his torso is much smaller than his torso, rightfully so. I think just based on the actors, that's a pretty good Alec Guinness likeness, if I do say so myself. And again, that sort of pearly finish looks really good. And the overall effect, as I said, is pretty stunning. It's pretty good. I would say that's as close to a ghost as I think you're probably going to get in an action figure form, in terms of having it have that sort of spectral look to it. But I messed with the hood too much, and now it doesn't sit properly on his shoulder, and I wish it did, because I think it looks more ghostly. Yeah, that's better. Looks more ghostly when it's sort of covering more of the body, I think. Now, before I get to Yoda, let me just quickly check the chat. Remember Jumper? No, I don't. I don't think I do. So I'm curious. What's Jumper? Was that a movie? I probably jog my memory on that one. I can't remember. You said wicked fun concept. I can't remember it. I probably watched it. If it was, a movie of that era, I probably watched it. Jeff Morris, I find your lack of faith in his acting disturbing. Really? Like, I just don't, I don't know. He's just got maybe it's a style, and maybe I just don't appreciate it. I don't know. I've never found, and maybe this is just, I just don't connect with, like, maybe that's, how do I say this? Maybe the way he emotes, it naturally is just really unnatural to me. But when he's angry, or when he's like when he cries and things like that, it comes off as acting to me, and it doesn't feel natural. It feels put on. And I don't like it in my 9-year-old, and I don't like it in Hayden Christensen. Anyway, Kelly says he was good in Vanishing on 7th Street. Cool movie that came out in 2010 that nobody saw. I didn't see it. I'll take your word for it. The movie, they had the ability to teleport anywhere. Samuel L. Jackson had white hair. Jumper. I feel like I did see it. And I feel like there was a lot of other movies around that time that were better than Jumper. But I do remember seeing it. And they had to, I'm gonna get it wrong, because I feel like they had to, like, travel between countries, and then I feel like they had to jump into some building, and it was like there was like it was kind of an adventure movie. I think I saw it. I don't remember it vividly, but yeah. What was the other one with Chris Pine? Was it Chris Pine or Chris Evans? Might have been Chris Evans, with him and the kid, and they had like kind of superpowers, and it was in Asia. I feel like that was kind of in that same vein around that same time, and I feel like that one was better. But anyway, I digress. Definitely worth $10. 100% worth $10 for 3 of them, for especially. Steve says he comes off like a spoiled teen brat. His acting is off. Yeah, I agree. Like, it feels like he's acting, is the easiest way that I can, like, describe it. And John says, "Yeah, you got it." Okay, so what? Yeah, I have seen it. I wasn't blown away by it. Push. That's what it was. Yes, Push was the name of the one that I'm thinking of. And it was it was Chris Evans. All right, I got my fact checking team going here. That's good. All right, let's take a look at Yoda. He is tiny, which I like. Yoda should be tiny. He's just a little fella, and he comes with his little cane, his little walking stick, which is also painted in this sort of pearly color, which I think you can see best here from anything that we've looked at. The cane itself has almost like a purple sheen to it, purple hue, and that is largely because of the paint. I believe it's just a brown uh stick. You know what? I wonder if this is painted in clear and then painted over top of printed in clear and then painted over top of too. This looks really, really good. Strangely, his little necklace is completely opaque, but has the pearlescence. Everything about this guy is awesome. He's got his little belt. This has the most detail and sort of accessories of all of them. Articulation at the ankle. I need another Yoda. I think I needed like a non. I think I need. Oh wait, no, I think I have another version of this. Yeah, I do. I have Dagobah Luke that had the Yoda backpack and the Yoda packet, so I actually have. I haven't opened that either. I have a whole collection of Luke Skywalker Black Series figures that are pretty much all unopened, because I don't have anywhere to put them besides the shelf that they are on. Yoda's gonna get his little stick in his hand. I mean, he's a ghost, so I guess he probably doesn't need it to hover, float, or whatever we've decided ghosts do. But yeah, a very, very cool figure. Very well executed. I think this is a great little figure. I love this little guy. Although, as I said, I love Yoda, so maybe I feel like this cane needs to be the other way around. I feel like there was virtually no chance that I wasn't going to love this Yoda figure, but there you have it. You have the three Force ghosts, the three wise men, I guess, of the Star Wars universe, looking pretty dapper in their shiny purple robes. Jeff Morris is so sad that Yoda still needs a cane even as a ghost. Yeah, but it's it adds to his character. When we meet Yoda, he whacks R2D2 with the stick. So I think the stick is intrinsically linked to Yoda's character. I did, as much as I didn't love the prequels, I really did love seeing a slightly younger Yoda kicking ass, flipping around, get the lightsaber out, and using the Force, and just being a super powerful, super awesome Jedi. And then to think that the Yoda that we met first, on Dagobah, was almost like a comic relief character in a way, but that's just Yoda. Yoda be classic Yoda. I love Yoda. I think he's a really, really cool character and very dynamic. In terms of the depth of the characterization that they gave Yoda, is quite remarkable, given, at least in the original trilogy, like how little screen time he really had, and how little he was really involved. And then you get more in this prequel era, and then to see him in the sequels too, and especially back to practical effects for Yoda was very, very cool. So anyway, Red 5 says just start getting into Black Series. I got a great deal on the whole Rebels team. Black Series figures are great. If I had more room and more money, I'd probably buy a lot more than I do. As it stands now, my Black Series rules are characters from The Mandalorian, and sort of the Mandalorian, the Mandoverse. Is that what it's called? I think. Characters from the Mandoverse, versions of Luke Skywalker. So Black Series, Luke Skywalker figures, whatever sort of outfit, whatever sort of part of any movies that he's in, or anything that happened on Endor. So I love Endor, and I got the Ewoks. I've got all the Endor sort of rebel commando outfits for the main guys. I got a couple of the rebel troopers, scout troopers, and these guys qualify because these guys were on Endor. So these Force Ghosts don't even break any of my rules, and I can kind of double down because they're translucent figures, semi-translucent, I guess in this case. But I love translucent figures. So the fact that they don't even break any of my collecting rules was a huge plus. And then, as I pointed out before I opened these, the fact that I got these at Ross for $10 for the 3-pack was an absolute no-brainer. Anyway, that is the Star Wars Black Series Force Ghost 3-pack opened, and that's I mean, what more is there to talk about? I guess they're pretty basic figures. They come with what they come with. You get what you get. You get the 3 figures and pretty light accessory wise, because ghosts don't travel with much. They travel pretty light. So is he gonna stand up? He'll stand up. So that's that. That's the Force Ghost 3-pack. Shall we open the Tantive 4 corridor? Do you guys want to see that? Or is anybody interested in that? Or do you guys want to just hang out, chat? You got better things to do on a Saturday night? I know I don't. I know technically it's not May anymore for some people if you were on the East Coast. Happy June 1st. But if we want to, I guess I can adjust my camera again, which that's annoying, but I'll do it anyway. Gotta do it for the people. John says, open it. Onryu 83 says it's 11 p.m. I'm still awake. All right, let's do it. Let me just adjust this. And I could do this using technical things, but instead I physically move this camera back, which is dumb, but that's the way I've been doing it for years till I figured out that I don't have to do that. So I'm gonna keep doing it that way. There she is, the Tantive 4 corridor. This again, cool set. I think, I don't know. Picked this up because it was discounted. I got this for 40 Canadian dollars, which is about 27, 30. Let's just call it. Well, no, 20. Yeah, about 27 US dollars from Walmart in Canada. I was ordering something else, and this popped up, and I was like, "Well, I may as well get that." I got it primarily to use for Cyberzoic and Joy Toy and stuff like that. I don't really do much of the 3 3/4 inch Star Wars stuff, but for this price, play sets, there's not that many play sets out there. So for this price, it was kind of a no-brainer. So yeah, here it is, and I'm gonna open it, and if it's fantastic, maybe I'll see if Walmart has another one. Jeff Morris, either way, I almost bought that hallway a couple of times. I went back and forth a bunch of times. I think it looks cool. I mean, I love the Star Wars design aesthetic, the sort of architecture in Star Wars of all the ships, and all the planets and all that kind of stuff. And then play sets. I mean, who doesn't love a play set? So Onryu 83. It's ironic. My son was born on May the 4th. He won't even look at anything Star Wars. My son is born on May the 5th. We had it was a scheduled C-section, um, and I like begged them to schedule it for May the 4th, but they were totally booked up. They couldn't fit it in, and so I begged my wife to try to figure out some way to move it up. But May the 5th, not that bad. That means I get to celebrate Star Wars the day before his birthday and then eat tacos and drink margaritas on his birthday. So it's kind of like the best of both worlds, I guess. All right, let's get this thing going. What I do like about the vintage collection is that they're really leaning into the vintage aesthetic. So this looks just like what you would have got, in the 80s with the play sets and figures and things like that in the 80s with just sort of the rectangular box, the logos and everything, and just Kenner, the fact that they're using Kenner's logos rather than Hasbro, just a really, really cool touch. On the top, you get, the breakdown of like, here's what you get. And this is additional sets required because you cannot do this with one. So this is two. This would be 1, 2, 3, 4 of the sets together, which is, they look really cool when you put them all together, which is why I wanted more of them. But as I said, I got to figure out whether I like this one first before I buy multiples. On the back, you get the same as on the front. Virtually identical, except you get Hasbro's logo as well as Disney's logo. Everybody's got to get their logos in on here. All right, so let's get this out of the and you also get R2, C3PO, and Leia. Then what's on the other end? On the bottom, actually, this one's a cool one. On the bottom, you get some of those rebel soldiers, and then R2 and C3PO when they're kind of running away. And then on the other side, you get Vader and some stormtroopers and little arrows. Says, hey, you can open this door. So that's cool. Let's open this box. Can't open the door until we open the box. And I definitely can't show this on screen because I just don't have the space. So I am going to kind of unpack it off screen. Slash on screen. I'll kind of take it out of the box and then sort of go through everything. You get a wall. That's good. This feels like really kind of cheap, flimsy plastic. This is 2 pieces. I don't know why they ship that sort of as 1 piece, given that it is 2 pieces kind of stuck together. I didn't even realize that this comes with a Rebel Fleet Trooper on card with a baseball cap. And, oh, that's cool. I think that's the little accessory that they hold up on Yavin when they're like scanning the ships coming in. And then he gets a pistol, and then he gets, what is that? Like a little cuff or something? Maybe go on his arm? I don't know. On his leg? Where's that go? What does that do? Are there instructions in here? Maybe. We'll see. Bunch of pieces. Bunch of cardboard. Bunch more pieces. How do I get this out? Box. Okay, so we get all these pieces, and then it's like a little Lego set. I'm gonna put him over there because I may open him once I get everything else done. And open. This is like, he's got a bunch of cardboard dust on it. This thing's a couple years old now, I feel like. And the plastic is admittedly kind of flimsy, kind of cheap feeling. But for the price point, I'm not too upset. I'm going to cut these pieces off because they got these little tabs on. but it's like 1 tab per, so it doesn't take much. All right, so I got all the pieces out of the packaging. I got walls, I got floors. Did I get all the pieces out of the packaging? Yes, okay. Okay, so these instructions were confusing to me because I didn't see this side first. I saw this side first. And I was like, wait, I don't have that panel. I don't know what those are. So I said that this is 2 pieces, and it is. And it just plugs in. So it's modular, like everything, you know, is nice and modular, as I said. Everything will sort of stick to everything else. You just need to use sort of the connecting plastic pieces, and they're all effectively interchangeable. I'm going to build it, you know, just the totally normal way, the basic sort of straight out of the package way, because I feel like that'll fit on the shelf best. But you can sort of set this up in a couple different ways. So you can set the doors up. You know, they're showing you that, you know, the one door can go on the end and one door can, you know, they can sit at a right angle to each other. You could set them all up, you know, completely flat. You could put, you know, 2 ends of the door, you know, facing each other. Like, you can kind of do this how you like. It's modular, so you can kind of change it up. Now the only thing is the floor is 2 pieces, and there's no that it's not as, the floor is not as modular as you might want if you're going to kind of set it up any sort of funky way that's not, you know, the standard way. But you could sort of set it up without the floor in a non-stock way. Before this, I did get the Navarro Cantina, the Cantina from Mandalorian. And it's pretty cool, which is part of the reason that I decided to get this when it came out for $40. I didn't need it. I have no real use for it, as I said, in a 3 3/4 inch sort of Star Wars collection universe. But again, got a good price on it. These stickers look like trash. They look cheap. They look like they're not stuck on. So I'm probably going to re-glue those at some point. Ugh, yuck. Oh well. As I said, really thin, kind of flimsy, but it works. One door on either side. So put this one here. So they all just as I was sort of showing you, you know, they have the pegs on the front. You see? Do you see? Can you see? What did you say in Minority Report? Do you see? Can you see? I can't remember. And one of the 3, so interestingly enough, this is actually 3 panels now that I've realized this. So this is a panel, this is a panel, and then this is a piece. This one end support is, so so there's, it's weird. It's modular, but not every sort of module is sort of interchangeable with all the others. So you would have to kind of pick and choose which things get connected to which other things and how those things work together. And so it does appear that it's very much designed to go together in a particular way, although I'm sure you could get a little bit creative and sort of work around, you know, what they've sort of predetermined the sort of usage to be like. I personally, like, I know the aesthetic of the Tantive 4 is like really, really clean, really polished, and sort of new looking. I think for my purposes, for the sake of Cyberzoic, I think this is gonna get a wash. I'll just probably do like a very light black wash just to pull out a lot of the details, because like besides these stickers, there's no paint on this. This gray plastic is sort of a separate part. It looks like it's kind of plugged in. So there's no paint at all on this, with the exception of above the doors. There's the red is painted on there, but all the gray is just gray plastic, which is plugged in. It's the same gray plastic as the floor. Everything's just white. You know, if you didn't know that this door opened, it really does just look like it's molded in there. But they do, you know, they slide surprisingly well. So now I want more, because when I open this, I want there to be another hallway that they can, you know, go down. I guess, as I said, I'll see if I can get another one. But yeah, pretty basic, pretty simple stuff. But it's effective. You know, it works. So Allison Troy said, I need to pick this up. I'm going through all of my Star Wars stuff right now to plan displays, and this is definitely needed. Yeah, and I think you can probably get them for pretty cheap. As I said, I got mine from Walmart.ca, but I suspect you could probably get it from Amazon or Walmart in the US, or anywhere toys are sold online. It's probably the best way to get them for cheap. John said, can you stack them high, like on tip of each other? I know there's no pegs, but is it stable? I think you could probably figure out how to stack it, because there is sort of matching parts. You might have to glue it, because I don't know how stable it would be, because I don't know how stable this thing really is. Steve says that looks pretty good. Yeah, I mean, like I said, for $40, like, you know, if there's more people doing play sets, I'd probably buy those too. John says Amazon has it for $35, which is not bad. I would say it's, you know, $35, probably worth about $35. I don't know that I would spend more than that. I think these things retail for like 50 or 60, which to me is a little bit outrageous. But I didn't buy it for that price. So, and I'm also not a big Star Wars guy. So, I am a big Star Wars guy. I'm a terrible fan. But I'm not a big 3 3/4 inch collector. So, you know, I didn't have a whole bunch of you know, New Hope figures that I needed to display for, and so I didn't need this for that. I got it with different purpose in mind. So, Allison, how many, I wonder, to create the corridor where Leia records her message and gives R2 the disc of Death Star plans? I don't know, and let me spin this around, because I'm kind of curious how this will look, because I think from the back it looks like trash. I mean, from the back it's bad, but I do think that from the back it looks more like that hallway where Leia gives them the plans. And I'm gonna adjust this one more time. It's a little, you know, you get a little more 3 3/4 perspective. But these go on the back too. So let me try to figure out. Oh, okay. So there's little, you're not gonna be able to see it, but there's like these little things that stick out, and these go on the back. And initially I thought these were for is that right? Yeah, that's right. Admittedly, initially I thought these were for support, so the thing didn't fall over, but I think they're meant to be for you to reenact that scene with Leia. And I'm gonna put them on correctly. This one's not on correctly. to what the shit? That one doesn't want to go on correctly, so I'm not going to bother forcing it. Yeah, so there you go. That's I can't. This is more like the hallway where Leia, is sneaking around. So I think that's the move there. You might have to do another floor to get the right look. You don't want necessarily a bamboo table for that scene, but I think you could very easily get away with just even like a construction paper or painted cardboard or whatever. I don't know. Do what you want. But I think you could definitely sort of reenact that scene pretty well with this set, which is cool. I didn't really think of that. I was thinking more of the hallway side, but this does not want to go on. That's okay because the back side, and I'm never going to look at it, and I'm probably going to take these off so that it sits more flush against the shelf because I'm going to display it the other way around. It does not stay on very well. It feels like a playset you would have gotten in 1977. It's kind of flimsy. It's kind of cheap. But the doors work, and it's all there. And if I could get another one of these, I probably would get another one of these. Steve said, could make a catwalk along your wall for a hamster or something. You could. You definitely could. I don't know that I would want to. Now, how many I wanted to create the corridor where Leia records her message and gives. I think 2 would be enough, to be completely honest. I think you could probably get away with only 2 of these and have enough if you, if the shot is kind of tight enough. Anyway, do I need to should I open this guy? Yeah, I may as well. Let's do it. Because then I can recycle the cardboard and recycle the plastic and not have to look at this boxed figure. Now, with Cyberzoic coming on strong, and with the Carson Teva in TVC, and because I'm getting Carson Teva, I'm like, well, maybe I need an X-Wing. And because I'm getting an X-Wing, maybe I need Pilot Luke. So who knows? This time next year, I may have like a full vintage collection. I do have a habit of sort of doing that. Just on the back of this card, just cause a little cross sell on vintage collection there as well, with a bunch of figures that probably aren't the top of people's lists. The armor, did anybody buy that? I don't know. Moff Gideon, I think, is probably right up there. Maybe with that dark saber, people would have got it. I actually, I don't know if it's that Darth Vader, but I heard that there's a TVC Darth Vader that's like the best Darth Vader figure. Not that I need it, but Chirrut is on there too. Great character. Rogue One and Andor was sort of, I don't think I need any of those figures. Love the show, love the movie. Not as toyetic. Mandalorian. I think I might actually have that Mandalorian figure, that Din Djarin. Anyway, there you go. Cross zone. Here we get old man rebel trooper, gray hair, looking very much like a TVC figure. I honestly, I don't know. I mean, I know that there's a lot of people that love these, and I know that there's a lot of people that think that Star Wars should always be 3 3/4 inches. Um, Man, these TVC figures are just not as good as 6-inch figures. And whether that's Black Series or whether that's, other Hasbro properties or whatever, I just, O-rings are rad because they move really well, and there's sort of a nostalgia there. There's an aesthetic with an O-ring figure, but like a 3 3/4 inch or 4-inch figure just doesn't hit the same as a 6-inch figure. Now, that's not to say that, this isn't a better scale for world building in terms of vehicles. If you're going to do, dinosaurs that ride around armored up and stuff like that, I think this is the scale for it for sure, because you can make bigger things in a smaller scale, basically. But yeah, this figure is just it's fine. It's fine. Anyway, it's a baseball cap. Why does he have a baseball cap? I don't remember that being canon. I don't believe it is. I don't know what this is. I mean, this looks like it probably goes on his arm or his leg, maybe around his boot. I don't know. Maybe it's a screen accurate thing that I just don't know about. I'll probably never put it on. I'll put it in the bin of 3 3/4 inch bits. This, though, I think is great. If I'm right, which I don't know that I am, but I think it's that little thing that they hold. Like they when the ships are coming into Yavin, and that little guy sitting in a bucket. I think actually, now that I've watched their sort of behind the scenes making of, I think it's actually a garbage can on the top of a pole. But that's a cool accessory. That's a fun one. This guy for me always should have a helmet. That's just how they should be. He's gonna protect the hallway. Size wise, I mean, it's a decent size. Like, the hallway is a decent size for $40. Anyways, there it is. Let's see. Allison says, I've been stacking 15 years of unopened 3 3/4 inch figures this weekend and trying to plan. I know you have. I'm still, since last year when we did Power of the Force and I actually bought some Power of the Force stuff, I realized there's probably a handful of Power of the Force figures that I would, if I see them out in the wild, I would probably pick them up. Thankfully, I didn't get to the toy show where I bought some last year. This year, otherwise I probably would have bought some. But Steve says, you never recycle Star Wars packaging, you blow it out the airlock. Allison says, I'm one of those people. 6-inch Black Series is fine for cherry picking my favorites, but you can't world build 6-inch without buying a mansion. Yes, that is absolutely true. Size matters. And if you're small, if you're 3 3/4 inches or 4 inches, it's not, you got to work with what you've got, and there's a lot of people that do amazing things with smaller tools. So Allison, I ordered 3 carded Power of the Force 2 Leia figures I'm missing from my mint on card Leia collection this weekend. Yeah, but that's you know what you like, and it's like that's on brand, and that's you stay in your collecting lane, and you love what you collect. So I respect that completely. More so than people that just go out and get on random buses and pick things up because they're drunk. I still don't believe that story anyway, but yeah, that's all I got. I got some Star Wars stuff, and it's fun. And May's over, so it's time to talk about GI Joe stuff, I guess. Which I will do, when there's GI Joe stuff to talk about. But in the meantime, yeah, I'm just looking at my stack of stuff. I've got some Super 7 Ultimates Ninja Turtles, 2003 Turtles. I've got a New Eternia Faker. I've got some Cyberzoic. I still haven't opened my Cyberzoic stuff because that was one. I just feel like Cyberzoic being new and being that I'm so very excited about it. I didn't want to open those and not do like a proper video for them. So I'll probably try to do that sooner rather than later. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know when I will be inspired to do another live video. I'm kind of enjoying not doing them, if I'm being perfectly honest. So if you're here live, thank you for being here live. If you're watching the replay, I'm sad that you weren't here with us to join us, because it's been fun and it's been a pleasure. And I think I'm gonna wrap things up. It's been about an hour, and I've got nothing. Yeah, I got no other Star Wars stuff to open right now, so I think I'm gonna call it a night. As I said, it's been a pleasure speaking moistly. Thank you for joining us. Better late than never, I suppose. But until next time, guys. Bye.